Probably more than you. There's clearly a disturbance somewhere down here. But I'm not sure it's under the mansion.
We should still check out that section. It is clear on Jonathan's map that it is blocked off. This means the light brigade is hiding something, I know it. We need to see what this is.
This could be a trap. You said you overheard them giving up their search on us, expecting us to find them here in the underground. They must be close to executing their plan.
Exactly. We don't know how much time we have, but we do know they feel I'm coming after them with revenge on my mind. This is good. They will expect a well-crafted plan.
And what is your plan?
I'm working it out still. Oh my God. Constance, this is what Jonathan showed me. If you experiment on this substance somewhere else, everywhere the substance is, mirrors the properties of your experiment. He said it could be from a fourth dimension.
Dr. Mills was certainly a bright mind for this time, but he's wrong. It isn't from the fourth dimension. It's from the void, the space between dimensions.
What do you mean?
The reason the properties change like they do is because it mirrors a hive mind. The void is somehow connected to Obsidians Abyssus, but we never figured it all out. The substance is here because a gate spewed it out. You see, when you pass through a tunnel to another dimension, think of the tunnel as a means to travel through the void without touching the void. The reason a portal's energy is so strong is because it essentially is an explosion. But to bring the void here, this explosion would have to be massive.
Johnny, the speakeasy bartender, he told me the group at the mansion was buying up explosives.
That's not the kind of explosion I'm talking about. But it is good for us to know. It means they're blasting into a section of the underground that must have been sealed off.
Of course. Behind the mansion. Remember where we entered? The feeling that you told me about was the strongest there.
Yes. We may have been above it.
Alright, here's the mansion section. We need to blast. Jonathan gave us dynamite. Let's get through that wall.
This is going to be heard throughout these tunnels, you know that, right?
Yes. They will know I'm coming.
Tell me again, why is this good?
Because they don't know you're coming, too. Alright, let's go.
We're getting closer. This portal seems to be the most powerful one I've ever encountered. What did you say about the underground? No one knows how old it is?
Yeah. Jonathan told me it predates the settlement. It possibly predates ancient people, too.
But yet, it was sealed by someone if they need to blast. We're missing something. If this portal always existed, then the Light Brigade are merely trying to find it. But they seem to know something we don't.
I think I have a plan. When we find them, you need to remain out of sight. Let me be captured. I can find out their plan. And then you can come in and rescue me.
And how will I rescue you?
They will search me. But one thing they won't think to look for is the substance I put in my shirt. And they won't take my lighter. I will ask to smoke and burn the substance. The properties should transfer and distract them enough. I will just need you to grab me so I know which direction to go.
Wait. I think we're here.
Why is no one else?
And why is there no sign of an explosion?
What's in this room?
Of course. The portal wasn't sealed. It was worshipped.
What do you mean now?
This maze is a trial. Clearly, an ancient people built it to test its warriors. You make it through the maze and gaze into the portal. I'm sure some went mad and some fell into it and essentially never existed at all.
So the explosives were to create a shortcut?
No. They were to set a trap for anyone who made it this far. Look.
Well, we better watch our step then.
We're still missing something important.
Welcome to the quest for the Green Ball! Lost in Dreamlands! We're down to 4 who can still dream of holding up the Green Bowl trophy. And it was a crazy wild week with one epic, greatest playoff match of all time in this league. With one team not making it to the semifinals despite scoring over 130 points. That is insanity. We also had an injured team get crazy production against a team that was healthy until the games actually started in a flip of a script I'm not sure anyone saw coming. Yes, it was certainly a to remember in this league. Let's look at the epic battle that was. We're talking number 4 Pounders hosting number 5 low-key Lebowski Thor in Beijing 31-45. Pounders played the wrong quarterback in a season where that seems to be happening a lot, and it nearly cost them a playoff win. But Lebowski Thor's production stopped just short of Pounders in this all-time best league quarterfinal match. Pounders holding on for the 137.24 to 131.4 victory. This one was electrifying, as the score suggests. And this was without star player Josh Allen in the lineup, a surprise benching, as Jaden Daniels got the start for Pounders here. Daniels did do well. He had 226 passing yards, 66 rushing yards, and 2 touchdowns. but it certainly didn't compare to another 45-plus point game by Ellen. James Cook went off for 133 yards and 2 touchdowns. Xavier Worthy added 76 yards and a rushing score. Breece Hall also reached the end zone. The Rams' defense was key, with 3 sacks, an interception, and just 12 points and 191 yards allowed, helping to offset the Denver Broncos' defense, one of our players to watch for Lebowski Thor. The Broncos went off for 2 sacks, 2 interceptions, 3 fumble recoveries, and a touchdown, allowing just 13 points. Player to watch James Conner stepped up in a big way for Pounders, though. He had 138 yards and 2 touchdowns. One of those scores came seconds apart from a Denver pick 6 that ended up being the difference in this match. Lebowski Thor struggled with wide receivers, but not at quarterback or running back. Jalen Hurts finished with 290 passing yards, 45 rushing yards, and 3 touchdowns, though he did lose a fumble. Chase Brown added 113 yards and 2 scores. Elvin Kamara also scored, but left with an injury. Zach Charbonnet ended up with 66 yards and a touchdown. That was the 10th win on the season for Pounders, and it also sets up a massive Asia-Pacific Void Week 14 rematch against top-seeded Risky Business in the semifinals here in Week 16. And in case you're wondering, Risky Business dropped over 150 points during their bye week, so we may be in for another all-time instant classic in the semifinal. Loki Lebowski Thor obviously has to settle for the heartbreak of being in the 5th place match, but still should be proud of the fight this season. They were the first team to start 1-6 and make the playoffs in league history, and then they dropped over 130 points in the playoffs to push a team that spent multiple weeks ranked number 1 this year. I know it hurts, but they will look back and try to use this finish as motivation to get back next year. That first quarterfinal is obviously impossible to top, but while the other quarterfinal ended up being a blowout, it still had its wild moments as my number 3 Minerva's Minions hosted number 6 More Than Conquerors in Rome 1890. Minerva's Minions did not get good production out of Saquon Barkley with an injury scare as well, but somehow it didn't matter as they crushed More Than Conquerors 117.88 to 66.76. If you would have said before the match that Barkley would score less than 8 points and that Kirk Cousins would score less than 10 points, my thought would be a More Than Conquerors win. Instead, the sun god, Amon-Ra St. Brown, stepped up in a big way, 193 yards, including a 50-plus yard touchdown, though he did lose a fumble. Scary Terry McLaurin also came to play, 73 yards and 2 scores. And then the Chiefs' defense lit up the Browns, allowing 7 points and collecting 5 sacks, 4 interceptions, and 2 fumble recoveries. Bucky Irving added 113 total yards, coming back from an injury as a game-time decision. Oh, and tight end Noah Gray caught a touchdown. Not Travis Kelce. CeeDee Lamb did lead More Than Conquerors with 116 yards and a touchdown, and the Vikings defense picked up 2 sacks and added a fumble recovery while allowing just 12 points. But a season-ending injury to David Montgomery in-game and an injury to Joe Mixon in-game ultimately doomed More Than Conquerors here. It didn't help that player to watch, Kyler Murray, didn't do much despite having a good matchup. He did end up as the only spot in the lineup where More Than Conquerors won the battle because Kirk Cousins was so terrible. This was the 9th win for my Minions, who clearly put the tiebreaker talk in the European Void to rest with this statement win, making the semifinals for the 4th time in my league career and 3rd time in the past 4 seasons. Now, my Minions get a rematch against the American Void champion, number 2, Remember the Titans. Last year's runner-up, More Than Conquerors, has a very disappointing end to this year's campaign and must now worry about a tough fifth-place match while dealing with some key injuries. Still, making it to the playoffs is not an easy accomplishment, especially when you need to have good trades again. What an opening playoff week that was, but we also had a few consolation quarterfinals going on with teams trying to avoid a dick butt bowl berth. Let's check out what happened in the best of the rest. Demon had hosted the Overcomers in Barcelona in 1992 and easily cruised to a 102.26 to 55.74 victory. Jordan Love finished with 229 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. Jamison Williams and Garrett Wilson also reached the end zone. Brandon Aubrey added 3 field goals, including a 50-plus yarder. It was another week to forget for the Overcomers with a negative 7 points from the Lions defense. The worst possible defense score in this league that you can get, and the only team in league history to have a defense in the starting lineup finish that bad. Oh yeah, and Cooper Kupp put up a goose egg as well. C.J. Stroud did get 2 scores, and Aaron Jones added 106 yards and a touchdown. Drake London also reached the end zone. The Clash at Demon Head get their 6th win and move on to face the Stellar Bitches on the road in the consolation semifinals. The Overcomers dropped their 10th match this year and is now in the Dick Butt Bowl for the 2nd time in their league career. Green Acres hosted Air Jordan in Tokyo 1981 and dominated in a 113.86 to 73.84 win. Aaron Rodgers came to play for Green Acres with 289 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. Nico Collins caught 2 touchdowns as well. Rashad White also scored. Puka Nacua added 108 yards, and Jonnu Smith reached the end zone for the 2nd straight week. Keenan Allen led Air Jordan with 82 yards and a score, and Rico Dowdle added 149 yards. Caleb Williams threw for the 1 score to Keenan Allen. Green Acres avoids going from first to worst and will play the elite Mother Tuckers on the road in the consolation semifinals. Air Jordan drops their 10th match this year and is the first team in league history to make back-to-back Dick Butt Bowls. We now enter the final 2 weeks of play before a Green Bowl champion is crowned, and the matchups certainly get harder for everyone as we look at the last 4 standing. 3 of these 4 teams have been ranked number 1 in the league. My Minions the only one that weren't, but my Minions were number 2 in the league rankings 1 week. And all 4 teams, all of us, have been a top team of the week throughout the season. In terms of favorites, Risky Business now has a 36% chance to win it all. Clearly the top favorite. Remember the Titans is next with a 23% chance. My Minerva's Minions are listed at 21%, and Pounders has a 20% chance, probably because they're going up against Risky Business. So, obviously it sees 3 of us as super close in terms of chances, and then Risky Business well above the rest. I mean, I can't disagree. That team has been beasting lately. But the matches are played for a reason, and it should be a fun finish with the top 4 teams in the end of the year power rankings all duking it out to try and claim the title. That's the show! Hope you enjoyed it. Join us tomorrow as we preview the semifinals and consolation semifinals, and we'll learn a little bit more about the Master Realm. Before you go, check out the updated playoff brackets. Until next time, salut.